still Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos, and my name is Sage Babalola. We're now moving on to the next segment of the morning show, the Morning Express, where we allow you an opportunity to also give your 2 cents on the matters that have been discussed. For Mainland Focus, we spend about 45 to 50 minutes taking feedback. That's from 8:40 to 9:45 a.m. Taking feedback through multiple channels. You can call, you can send a text message, you can call via WhatsApp, you can send a WhatsApp message. You can also interact with us via our streaming platform on Facebook and on YouTube. This is to show how dedicated we are to taking your feedback. So if you're unable to use one platform, there are multiple other platforms for you to reach us if you would like to contribute to the conversation. For Mainland Focus, as always, 2 major stories have been selected for by certain seats or have reserved seats, including persons with disability, which will cause a significant increase in the number of the people we have in the House of Representatives as well as the National Assembly. Yes, we do have the discussion around, well, there would be an increase from 360 to 415 in the House of Representatives, and we would see an increase from 469 to 552 at the National Assembly because they are proposing to increase the seat ability. So the question is this the right approach to allowing for involved women and persons living with disability? Would the better and more economical decision be to, but then we have Fᴜᴜ, who is of the opinion that this gender disparity that we see is not a matter of legislation and that adjusting the constitution will not necessarily fix this problem because at the end of the day, it is the Nigerian people that we vote for these women or these persons with disability. So rather than focusing on fixing it using legislation, it should be about the mindset of the electorate on the social ladder and the economic or financial ladder. We have more men who are richer. So for example, automatically disqualifies them from even being a awardee contender. But if we have situations where, for example, the ticket prices are affordable, amongst other things, maybe that would help. So what do you think about these perspectives? That legislation cannot fix the issue of misogyny that we see even within the political space. And in a time where we are thinking of minimizing our cost of government, we're thinking of even collapsing both the House of Reps and the National Assembly and using, should I call it a monocameral system now? And then there's now recommendations that we increase the number of seats at the House of Reps and at the National Assembly just to accommodate women and persons with disability. I would like to hear your opinion on this particular recommendation that has been made as constitutional amendment is ongoing. And then again, we have another story here, the back and forth that has happened between the IMF and the presidency with their recent report about the inflation trend in Nigeria. Certainly high inflation and poverty levels in the country. They put out a report. They're saying that upon taking office in 2023, the new government faced low growth and rising poverty. And between 2014 and 2023, real capital GDP declined on an average of 0.7% annually. In 2023, the poverty rate stood at 42%. The report also says that the difficult situation was compounded by limited access to dollars, which meant that people had to turn to the parallel currency market and also triggered, or should I say exacerbated, petrol scarcity, and the central banking financing of fiscal deficit as well pushed us to what Nigeria's economy is like. But the presidency has responded to this particular report by the IMF, and I want to read to you what the presidency has said so you can understand that these are the opinions of the presidency. Now, in an interview recently, we have the special advisor to the President Bola Tinubu on economic vision. Under President Tinubu has done some of the deepest reforms we've seen in a while. We only just got the tax bill signed into law, bills that offer relief to low-income earners and double the tax threshold for small businesses. We haven't even allowed these measures to settle, and we are hearing all sorts of fatalistic statements from different places, including, unfortunately, the IMF. He says sometimes one wants to think they go into overdrive almost every week or every 2 to 3 days. There's this on Nigeria. He says we're not asking for a pat on the back. We're just saying, you know what, give us a breather. Let us be able to implement the policy we've started. The IMF acknowledges the reforms are good, but they keep demanding more, and it's almost like they're being caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. In fact, he goes on further to say that the lending arm of the IMF, there's a conflict between the IMF and their lending arm, because on one hand, they're claiming that the policies are causing problems, but on the other hand, they continue to lend money to Nigeria. So if you are so pessimistic about the growth projection of Nigeria, why then do you continue to give us your money? This is a thought process to this. The contradiction that seems to exist between the IMF and that same Nigeria, and the fact that the IMF is not giving the policies of the president a chance to get rooted before they start chastising and criticizing the government. These are that we can put together our thoughts properly and we can address the issues head on. Feel free to call 0913 6000 410. The phone line again, 0913 6000 410. We're talking the creation of extra seats to accommodate women and persons with disability story you're focusing on. Also use the live stream to drop your comments. I'll be sure to read them. If you want to send a message, it's 0913 6000 430. We have our first call. Good morning.
But I'll say
good morning to you.
And I'm calling from Mendeboniland.
Welcome.
Yes. On the two issues we are focusing on, first half, you see, it is not a question of politics is for service to the people, while business is for people to make money. But the problem we have is that politics is being monetized. We don't create chance for women and create chance for the handicapped. In America, where I lived, I schooled and lived, because you don't use your money to say $1,000 on something. That's how you raise your campaign money. But here people keep position. We don't allocate position to women and this thing.
All right.
Let anybody
is baffled where these people are advancing for more inclusiveness, or even go on past legislation. They are talking about increasing more inclusiveness, whatever. Let them go to the local leaders and lending you money. It goes on me. What does that tell me? Does that not tell me that after they are not of age? That's what it's economic. That's what it means. So it's left on the level.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
The agitation for more women claiming we are equal even before. These women who are doing it, they don't have to wear. You know, there should not be, we now be amending the constitution because in seat of power. No, we don't pick 100 million for a presidential seat. You demand, they give you discount. Of course, the party is very reasonable. I think the same thing is in PDP. Why do we need to amend the constitution? Even with the youth, if we want to apply, or it's in our policy. You understand me? We don't need to amend the constitution because we want.
I think regardless, we're able to take your perspective. Call back if you can.
Hello, Sage.
Good morning.
Listen, my name is Ambrose.
Welcome.
Sage, I want to imagine that today, Bola met because he wants to become the president. Now he's there. All that I hear, people, the IMF, they are talking. When Britain discovered, did they not pull out? Then they said they existed. Yes.
Okay.
You came in. You said subsidy is gone. You said all the monies that you are making, grains we no see now, and I don't know how I can. The other, the other political party like this kind of government with all these policies that are obnoxious. They are very vexatious.
Thank you very much for calling. Let's take another phone call. Hello.
Hello, Lady Church.
Good morning.
Thank you. That thing they were talking about, I think they're okay because they represent every constituency and they have more number in every state than the senators. So what kind of government? That is it. And that's for that. And for the IMF, they should be on their own lane beginning. I don't know what you are feeling now. But the patriotic in Nigeria won't be able to fear. If they fear God and deal with corruption, it will be better to talk. We, the populace, the people, we should try to
When you talk artisans, go to marketers. If the other country come to Nigeria, they are corrupt. They are not going to establish the government. This IMF, please don't borrow Nigerian money anymore. Nigerian government will subsidy remove the money you are making. Spread it.
Another one. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Mʃɪɪƒo. I'm calling from above, cutting down the cost of governance, and they are telling us how to increase in National Assembly, at the moment. And in fact, not only by unicameral electoral, but disabled people, creating environment. You know, that is joining us with the increase. We need to be talking of how to reduce the cost of governance in our administration, Nigerian government. Nigerian government, we advise them, if they want to leave IMF advice, they should leave IMF advice and then started it. It will not be fair, like, So, why should government now say that IMF?
I'll read some of greed. We're proposing a good morning, Sage, and everyone in the studio. Extra seem to be enjoying the immediate benefits, revealing a clear morning, Sage and Fuad. The way we approach issues in this world is really absurd. We have Awolo Christopher from Shogunle who says that chef result, it did not go far enough. I agree. Bill would have been a welcome idea. Politics. Sam says if the IMF were a Nigerian political organization, the guidelines leading to increased poverty levels, borrowing without prudence, concerns about inclusivity, corruption, and disemphasize. The government did not propose collapse, commending that instead of a bicameral system of government, we can even further expanding the National Assembly. There is no conversation at the national. Thank you very much. Let me go back to taking phone calls. 090. Hello, good morning.
On this issue of inclusive, you see, look, with the kind of politics we are running, movement. If the campaign is, does one have it? Not a competition. Our system here does not it. Look at the issue of the war with ourselves. The kind of, the kind of democracy we want to send it is duplication of job.
You've spent well over almost 2 minutes. Thank you very much. It's just a minute. You spoke for 1 minute. Hello.
Yeah. Good morning, Sage.
Good morning.
Inclusion that is. That's not the problem of Nigeria now. The laws they are supposed to make, the things they are supposed to give opportunity. By the time they even give law now, is it not the same women? Any creditor, you are for a debtor, you are always is for whatever, and you are not even conformed. They are just this, for example, this online loan share or this incompetence on the side of this government, recklessness and carelessness.
Please make it back. Hello. I wonder what's going on.
Because
Welcome.
every day, this bond to grow and develop Nigeria. Must we depend on IMF every year? Can't we put us on how to deliver this nation with a bullet? That's wisdom. The government was able to Ghana to take bullets out of there. Why do we depend on foreigners to make our country great? We can take a break from them and come back to a space for love and peace. Come in legislation.
You have a beautiful morning. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
You see, the problem we know that at this point of our life in the country, the National Assembly, then the common man in the street, legislators that they are talking about, can be used to be electricity for Nigerians. It's remember that when we talk about military rules then, how many did they have in their Supreme Military Council? Sometimes 12 people, and they will manage the country well and manage the resources well. Then all this bogus assembly, you are still talking about getting more people. If you want to get more women, I will interpret. They say, that is, the person that carries his mat to the village square, other people will help him. God will give us leaders. We will work towards it by His grace. Have a nice day, please.
All right. Thank you very much. Let me pause for a bit to look at Facebook and what's going on there. Okay. You don't rule on paper on Facebook too, who says, good morning, Sage and Fuad. The National Assembly are taking Nigerians for granted. The masses are talking of at whose cost? Is it for more borrowing to maintain the legislation? Today, our university lecturers stopped teaching because they're yet to be paid June 2025. I don't know. I don't know what they're legislating on. Too much money don't make them think reasonably. Have James Msoɪᴜᴜ who says, Sage, I agree to you exclusively on the extra seat for women, and the will increase from 360 to 360 to 415 actually. Will the Senate constituencies, will they carve out the new seats? Since it's not up to 36 new seats, different from persons with disability. The Senate should be one person with disability, whether male or female from each state. Completely. Sage, I need hot coffee. I'm shivering in this cold weather. Where's it go, guys? Its current administration is to stop propaganda and focus on how to eat before they would involve women in politics. These people are just deceiving themselves. May God. You can send a message via WhatsApp to 091360. You have 1 minute, please.
Madam Fish, good morning. The reps is making them not effective or not be accountable to the people. This person, this kind of question, accountable to the people, or is telling the MIS, when they were busy, when the president himself was busy borrowing money from them or taking their advice. So that is none of our business. You understand? It is the problem they have is that they fail, even the president himself and his today, they are still living in denial. That is why anything that this people will come out and say, they will never take it. And if I didn't mean they came out now to bring a report praising the president now ahead, you will see them in different media clapping for the president, telling that the president has taken a bold step and what he has done, the reform. And I'm asking this question, where, and you are talking about reform, it's a pity.
All right. Hello. Good morning. Please, the volume on your radio, can you turn it down?
IMF Blue. Was it Patafabalewa? He said that it is IMF that but people called him several names. Have you not headed for the rocks to legislate on this wasteful spending? When the governor and start another one afresh, can't they legislate that the project must be completed instead of increasing? We're asking for them to be scrapped and place them on temporary something, sitting allowance instead of permanent allowance. They can never think of Nigeria. They would only think of themselves. So let us they must legislate on that. 2, they should find a way of stopping IMF loan.
Good morning, Sage.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is Gift. I'm calling from Maryland today.
Welcome.
Yeah, Sage. You see, I think the Nigerian populace have overfed the Senate and the House of Reps. That's why they are thinking of increasing the number. They're in a classroom. So go to your hospital and go and treat your patients. If I know to vote, when it's time to vote for state of emergency, they say they use voice vote. You are trying to increase it the more. See, I work in a financial institution. When I started working in the end of the month, even at the end of the month, people are still complaining. They're angry. Now, how would you be paying on the last day of the month? Now, someone is trying to defend the government for not paying lecturers on the after number of governors. IMF is telling us that people are going to poverty. I said about my experience on the day of inauguration. I'll vote, and I'll vote for the person I want to vote for. I will give them my sister.
Well, let's not resort to calling each other names. Yes, people have their convictions, regardless, even if you don't agree with WhatsApp messages, because it's piling up. Good morning, Mainland Radio, including that of the IMF. I'm passing Bok. The coalition is the amalgamation of corrupt politicians necessary to create more or extra seats in the House of Assembly to accommodate more women, because in the face of the law, both women and men are equal. I have here, good morning, Sage and Fuad. The federal government should please reduce the cost of governance by 10 a.m. today. We do have Cordelia Ope and Joseph Oli, and the things to pay attention to within and outside your environment. How do you take care of yourself? How do you protect yourself? How do you have an eagle's eye to see or notice when things are out of place, especially when on personal security? It's Mainland 98.3 FM. This is Trends in the Papers, and I am reading comments. I read this on WhatsApp, on Facebook already. The duplication of messages across different platforms can become a lucrative business in the country. It's on the Nigerians are dying of hunger. Would it not have been a good idea to come even ourselves? Are the women not more in population than the men? It's better instruction, which shows we need proper, competent and visionary president to drive the country and her economy. If not, why is the ruling party now condemning the statement made by IMF rather than the ruling party to leave the messenger and address the message? They keep on lamenting them. The campaign for inclusiveness of females is dead on arrival, dying silently without data. Poll shows that we're talking about two issues here. First of all, the proposal, as we're seeing in the House of Representatives, to create, that means there will be more seats created, there will be more people within that competition, as opposed to increasing seats and doing special ballots for them. And we're also talking about the report by the IMF, who says our inflation figures are rising, our economic position at this time is scared, the position they take on our economy, and also why do you keep borrowing money to a nation you don't have confidence in? What are your thoughts? Hello. Hello, it's a phone issue. I really don't know. But
good morning.
Yes, good morning to you.
This is Billy calling from Tolo.
Welcome.
Okay, on the issue of amnesty, I'm going for them. Did you ask them about how to spend the money? Our mother was at the end of the day, they have loan to buy a private jet for themselves. Sharing the money instead of them to spend the money in their country. Our cheap. I'm asking, what can they? Is there not any way that I can ask them that what are you guys using the money for? It's very bad for them. If they give Natasha a chance to speak. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate you. It was a struggle, but I think we're able to pick out the point that you were making. We can still take Jᴏɪᴜ Fᴏᴜ will be here with your guest to talk about personal security and how to pay attention to your environmental issues. The inclusion of women and persons is the best approach, and to conduct special ballots for these individuals is the best approach. What influence would it have on cost of governance? Would it also deprive people who are actually qualified from contesting? Because the IMF is saying our country is on a trajectory that is advisor on economy, saying that the IMF needs to ease off a little bit, and these comments that they are making has the potentials. But then again, there's a contradiction in their behavior, because the same IMF is against our policy, or you support it. Which one? The presidency. 09136000411.
Sage, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Ajibola with propaganda. You remember just like some months on a tragedy, they've been telling us that our inflation figures is dropping. So is it the IMF that is lying now, or the federal regulation has reduced by some? And IMF is not telling us that, but that is tragedy of the way that our inflation is increasing. So who is telling lie now? Is it the IMF that prescribe for them to remove subsidy, that prescribe for them to increase taxation, that prescribe for them to increase income interest rate? They now want to just share the reaction of the drug, because every drug you take, there can be a reaction of their pride and say that okay, we have made some mistakes, and call back themselves. Instead of them is now to just to go and blast and lambast everybody. Everybody have any dissenting opinion. Everybody just swallow whatever you are giving us.
Thank you.
It's not done.
All right. Hello. Hello. Good morning. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. My name is Gordon. I'm calling from Maryland.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much. See, my own issue is based on some questions I want to ask. Maybe if somebody can answer me. It's our problem whether maybe they should include women or maybe men in the National Assembly. Why is it that the National Assembly is trying to position? I don't see any reason. Why maybe they put woman? Is that Alice Madike was a woman? National issue was a corruption that even made people that become hatred about Nigeria become so paralyzed than any other institution in Nigeria. Look at the Senate; they cannot even stand for what they were voted for. So it's not about men in position. It is not about those facts. It's about putting people, right people in position. This president is not a man. What is he doing? What is he doing? It's not about how many men, or how many women. But I think they should begin to ask.
Thank you. Hello.
You call back, please.
We can barely hear you. That's the thing. It's a struggle.
Okay,
to
are you hearing now?
Okay, go ahead, please.
Go to a constituency, pray for a position, and let them go through there, and then be able to deliver. When you get to that position, you are doing it. Then you don't do it right and correctly. When you say, okay, you have this or that. If you want to collect, to borrow money, they give you money. That is what they do. If the onus is on the government that is borrowing money to know have enough capital to stand the borrowing, then they will give you to fill the bronze because you are not telling the balance of payment is not right the way they are pronouncing it. So the IMF has to talk. And if they talk, let them take this to whatever the IMF says. Then it's subsidy. They are getting money.
Thank you.
Money to
Thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome.
And when we have people that National Assembly and National Anthem and everything, all the things they have been passing have been useless. So it's telling us how useless they are. But thinking, okay, how many women have been freed? How many? Is it about the numbers of people? Even how will that better the decision of the whole country? How would that reduce the cost of governance that we have been clamoring for? How would that about wise heads, about righteous hands? Sit down. I don't even know what's wrong with that. Mr. Taju did not about that. We just sit down and think of nonsense and put.
Morning, Sage. You people always seem pleased whenever an issue appears in the newspaper that gives you an opportunity to do this. Okay, congratulations to you. Hamed Tunde Tundham. We have caller from Mushin who says you can't be borrowing from IMF while disputing. We have here blasting the IMF for telling you the truth will not change the stark reality that you have failed as a government. Very soon you will go and beg for another loan to share amongst yourself. Subar says on the issue of the IMF was established to enslave the economy of Africans, and our leaders all don't even need the IMF. Alright, we have Hello Mainland FM for the IMF. Let them continue to criticize the government for not using our resources to bring in money. For Christ's sake, we have money and yet we keep going out to beg for money. Is that not being stingy or wicked? Corruption will be the end of us if instead of learning from criticism. Sean, I don't know if that's what you wanted to write. We have Sage, please. How can we push as masses for a single chamber of the National Assembly? Mechuku from Ogun State. All right. We have all APC for an increase in the number of seats for women or physically challenged persons at the National Assembly is a deep-hearted patriotism to cause development of the country. Tunde from Magboro. We have good morning. Let the National Assembly make a law. We have here. Okay. I might not be able to read that. Oh, okay. Thank you. Coming up next is, as I said, the recap with Cordelia Okwe and Joseph Fᴜᴜ. We'll go on a break, so attend in your environment to put the things you need to pay attention. After that, we'll be back for the news at noon as well. Creative Nigeria.